Are you feeling stuck? Like you're standing at the edge of something more, but you're sort of unsure on how to take the leap?
If so, it is time to break free from the hesitation, the self doubt, and that spinning in place. Join us, Lisa and Kari, for Unstuck and Unstoppable, which is a powerful masterclass designed to help women just like you move from uncertainty to bold, clear action.
So, in this transformational session, you'll learn how to break through the barriers that have been holding you back. You'll reconnect with your power and your purpose, and you'll step confidently into your next chapter with clarity and courage.
So, this is your moment to stop playing small and start living the life that's been calling you. If you're ready to move forward with confidence and create what's next, this masterclass is for you.
Absolutely. So go to our website, thethingsweknowpodcast.com, and click on Masterclass. We cannot wait to see you there. You're not meant to stay stuck, you're meant to be unstoppable.
Can't wait to see you there.
Welcome back to The Things We Know. It is 12:44 Pacific time, July 3rd, and the House has just voted in the most destructive piece of legislation that has ever happened here in the United States of America.
Yep.
You have listened to our pods, you know how we have fought against this, especially when it comes to the loss of Medicaid, and what that will do for people living with disabilities, really for people who have grandparents who use Medicaid for, I mean, there's, as we've said before, there is somebody in your life that probably uses Medicaid, and a bunch of Republicans sold their soul, um, so that Jeff Bezos can have a $50 million wedding.
Mm.
And that's just some chump change in his pocket. We're
I
going to
mean,
talk, we have a topic, but we're going to
so
talk
they
about this right now.
themselves, I mean, there's a lot of
Mm,
millionaires in Congress. So
true.
yeah. Mm,
Yeah.
wow. So yeah. What are we talking about today now?
Well, technically, our topic is the lost art of play. And I
Yes.
think in some level, like, okay, so you and I are blind. We're not blindsided because we've been working really fucking hard to try to get people to call their representatives and go see their representatives both
Yeah.
in the Congress and the Senate. And so we're not blindsided by this, but we are a little deer in the headlights because we
Yeah.
really had just a sliver of hope that this wouldn't happen. And Medicaid's only one piece of how bad this is going to be for the country. But like, um, we sort of did this, and now I can't remember if it was right after the election or if it was the beginning of this season, but the idea that we can't let this knock
Mm.
us down, right? So our topic
Right.
today is the idea, the lost art of play. So I think
Yeah.
we still want to talk about that, but we just can't not acknowledge that we're a little like,
Deer in the headlights.
yeah, like
Yes.
swoggled.
Yeah. I mean, in normal times, if I can even remember what that even means,
I know, I think we came up with this
this is a
topic.
great topic because it is it's been so interesting, just in this we talk a lot at our retreats and on these podcasts about, and I was talking to, someone who's been to a couple of our retreats, Charlene, about this. We're always trying to get women to, let someone else do it. You don't have to, create everything for everybody else. Don't be, like so driven to take care of others that you don't enjoy life, right?
Right.
And then there's always like, and then I like went to my nephew's wedding last weekend, and I thought a huge part of why went really well and everyone had so much fun is because my sister-in-law is a badass and she can make so much happen. So it's like someone's got to do it.
Right.
Doesn't always have to be you. But in normal times, this is a really good conversation because, as things in our life, like, supposedly get easier as our kids grow up and move out, supposedly, and then we have more time. we still have this habit of getting things done and being productive. And now that I have more time, I should fill in the blank. I have
Mm,
more time to this. What life has thrown at us, people who have passion and care and we have empathy, with more time, we're just replacing it with advocacy. Like, you see all these signs, like we're still holding signs for the shit, and
yeah.
so it does apply still. It's super
Hmm.
important. The other thing we talked about is, yeah, the greatest response to us is don't let them steal your joy. We have to be focused, and we can't relent. We can't let up, because the whole goal right now is to just flood our nervous system so we just give up and comply.
Yep.
However, one of the things that makes the most nervous is when we're enjoying life. I know that sounds sadistic, but it is kind of true. Like, how do we continue to rise up and activate and speak truth to power when it is really winning? It feels like it's winning. And I think you had a great example of it at the last time you were at No King's Day. It was
Mm,
like, and I did too. It
yeah,
was like a festival, people of
it
all
was.
ages, music, children, pets, hilarious signs, and people convening together that didn't even think they would agree on anything. And so that is a form of play. But what we also wanted to talk about was just like how important it is for your nervous system and how we don't do it. I don't do it enough, right? Because it's so natural to us as children. And then I notice it all the time when we try to get people to do a dance break, like they feel awkward.
Yeah.
And it isn't just for children. In fact, it could be one of the most powerful things that we can reclaim for our mental health and give us the fuel we need for the productivity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the other thing I kind of want to put up front here is again in this time, and this time is not going away. This is our new normal
Just got
right now.
stretched way the fuck out in front of us.
It sure as hell did. And so in this time when we are spending, I mean, a lot of us are anyways, spending time um, advocating for ourselves and for others, we can feel guilty when we take that time off to rest, right? So again, as I said, it's July 3rd as we're recording this. And so, and I've got some really fun stuff going on in my life. Like Darren and I are trying to win America's favorite couple.
That's so cool.
And that's a long haul. It goes through September. And I find myself, I was saying it to Darren today because I posted about it. I was like, it feels so trite. And right now, that's the thing that's the funniest in my life is that we are up for this $20,000 in a spread in variety. So I have to I have to break up everything I'm doing to advocate for myself and others what with some fun. Because that will be the quickest way to burn out if all I'm doing is worrying. And if I've got 5 plates spinning right now, 4 of them require a lot of worrying. And you're the same way. And so I can't feel guilty when I decide to spin the plate that's fun.
Mm, I like that.
We
No,
have a script, everyone, but we're going rogue.
I know. I mean, yeah, I worked on this. But I definitely, I don't know. I think right now it is difficult. Like I definitely have trouble with this.
Yeah.
I love fun. I constantly am aware. Like if someone asked me, I know
We're
right
fun
away what
people.
I would say. If someone says, what would you do if you were having more fun?
Mm.
First answers are always dancing and singing. Like
Hmm.
I have control over that. I can do that any day. We have karaoke capabilities here. We have
I love
microphones. I can
that.
also just sing in the kitchen or in the car or in the shower. Dancing always makes things easier for me to
Yep.
to deal with the rest of my day. You do that. You dance
Hmm.
hard in between calls. So those are things that I wish I was doing more. It's weird that I could get to the end of a week and be like, I barely did that. You know,
Mm. Do you notice it? Do you notice a difference?
mhm, for sure. Where I'm
Yeah.
a little uptight and I'm a
Mm.
little
Do you feel it in your body, like
for
stressed, like
sure.
tight? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because I definitely like I like to be in the conversations that I'm in with a lot of people that we work with and are friends with, which is about pleasure. Like if everybody was more into self-awareness and what I
Yeah.
need, and then how to play and how to lighten them, it's like we'd all be treating each other better.
Yeah.
We'd be in a better place. So I definitely think pleasure isn't a luxury that only some can afford or some deserve or anything. Like if it, and you could see that at every income level and every kind of society. Some, music and laughter are present, whether people can afford a roof over their head or not. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's less of it and there's a lot of, it's always kind of amazing to see, oppressed communities dancing and
Yeah.
singing.
Yeah.
But there is something about that is just not just beautiful, but really powerful that people can't touch. So if you
Yeah.
can preserve that part of you, great. But the only way to have it to preserve is to feed it.
I
And
love that.
so for me, it's like I love looking out and having, and I know you're the same way, having um dates on the calendar where I'm going to go see live music. It's become so
Yeah.
freaking expensive. It's kind of harder and harder to do.
Yeah.
Luckily, you have someone who gets you in their shows for free.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Actually, that's not true. I pay for every one of her
Oh, you
shows.
do?
Yeah.
Okay. And
But it's
Well,
true.
Miles hasn't charged me for a gig yet, but yeah, the like having and for you, for someone listening, that might not be live music. Maybe it's a play, maybe it's a comedy show,
Yep.
maybe it's like a pickleball tournament. And I know you'll make a face at that, but like that's super playful and fun. And
Yeah.
my friends who are into it, that's keeping them so young.
Totally.
And so like whatever it is, I definitely feel like beyond just dancing, I want to take a dance class. I've talked about, comedy, learning and overcoming my fear of stand-up comedy. All of that is harder to do with like the caregiver role that I have. I have to find ways to play here. Luckily,
Yeah.
Griffin is really playful and
Yeah.
we enjoy stuff and games together. But honestly, it is more of an effort when you get into this mode that we're in. Someone said scoliosis. Where you're doom
Oh
scrolling
my
and life
gosh.
just feels hard, and then you feel guilty because maybe you're not suffering, but you feel bad that other people are suffering. That helps nobody. But if
Right.
you can find some joy and like enjoy yourself and have some fun, like go camping if you can, take a day off, go on a trail. Like I'm really thinking locally here. Like gorge is right there, beautiful, beautiful trails and waterfalls. You can do something in nature or something even more playful than that. Like I took my nephews who were in town to this interactive, where I took you, hopscotch,
Oh
this
yeah.
interactive like art installation where we were like jumping on a
That was super
trampoline and we're in a
fun.
big human ball pit, which you were smart not to go in.
Hmm.
Um, the that was your fun, not going in.
Yeah. I was like,
Um,
okay, you
and
do you.
then I know I didn't go in. They were like, "You're not coming in, Kari." I'm like, "I'll take pictures."
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because I lost my
That's where
phone in
you
there,
lost your
and
phone,
I
right?
lost my
Yeah.
phone, and we found out they only clean it like once a month. So gross. Anyway, I'm going way off topic, but my point is, I think you. I think it's so important, like the oxygen we breathe, to make sure that you have something that is playful, where you don't like if it feels awkward, lean into it and go through that wall and get there, because I think that's the way to survive right now is make sure you're having fun. Find your
Yeah, so
pleasure.
let's start with a definition. Like you and I have just
Yeah.
given some ideas, right? And I love you talked about the dance break because we had a few people tell us at the last retreat, like what somebody said to you, like I hope to be as free dancing as you and Lisa are. And I felt awkward,
Yeah.
but it was like, I don't know. You're right. I do it so often that I was just like, whatever. Anyways, let's go back to the to Stuart Brown, who is a medical doctor and a play expert, defines play, and I think this is important because it doesn't have to be structured. He defines it as something that is voluntary, pleasurable, engaging, takes you out of time. That is so important.
Love
And where
that.
the act itself is more important than the outcome. So it's not about being good at it. It's about state change. We talk, as coaches, I'm sure you do too. I talk to my clients all the time. When you're feeling stress, if you're sitting, stand, if you're standing, sit, if you're in one room, go in another room. So the idea of even a minute of play, whatever that is, it takes you out of that moment where you feel that stress, where you feel that pressure, and puts your body and your mind in another place.
Yeah. God, it's interesting too, because I was just thinking one of the great places of play, going back to our opening kind of just riff, is a pride parade.
Oh my God, yeah.
If
Oh,
you ever want to see like resistance being playful and like proof that there's nothing harmful about joy and being who you are.
hmm.
Yeah. It's never about being, I mean, if maybe I will even give you, I grant you permission to share a snippet of us dancing at the last retreat of Melissa and I
Oh,
doing our
you and
goofball
Melissa,
stuff,
it was
because
so cute though.
it isn't about being good at it. It's about just totally being silly. It was super
Yes,
fun. Like
it was.
and we were doing all kinds of weird stuff, but and it's different for everyone. For some people, like they're really good at getting out like colorful mediums and painting or creating, mixed media art. Like, I mean, it's just absolutely, like our friend JD is doing that now. She's doing a ton of watercolor, and
Mm.
it seems to be really like her self-care.
It's definitely what
It's in
Liam
a,
uses as
yeah,
self-care.
for other people, like we said, dancing, walking in nature. I just think it's important to ask if you've given yourself permission, or if you
Mm,
looked at your weekly schedule and say, well, where am I going to play? And
right.
if that's a weird question for you, this is like something to pay attention to.
Yeah, no question. And again, for women, because we spin so many plates, because we do have capabilities to be doing a lot of things, we tend to put it off as the last thing and worry that it will make us look flaky or not serious. But as you just said, reclaiming play is such a bold statement of resistance and healing. And what do we need more right now than resistance and
I
healing? I
know. I
mean, Jesus
know.
Christ.
Jeez. Right.
Ugh.
Um, I know. I think about that. Like when I think about what is the, if I like without thinking too hard, have try to get a memory of how I was really just, playful without limits as a child. I think it was in the
Mm,
pool, because, we grew up in
no
Southern
question.
California, like jumping in the pool and doing like little shows off the diving board, and, or just all the silliness that we incorporated, or we would like make these, there was like the jacuzzi part with the little windows that
Mm.
came through, and we would make that like a teller or a drive through or something on route. It was just
Oh,
really
oh yeah.
goofy.
Play in school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Just all
yeah.
the, or like, yeah, kickball, or
Kickball, kick the
four
can.
square, or
Yeah,
hopscotch. I mean,
yeah.
that stuff was fun.
Swings.
And then like science of it. I remember when I was my my former retreat partner, I just think I dropped an earring. Sorry. Oh no, my head, it was my earbud. Um I remember with her at one of our retreats, she tried to get everybody to just run like a little kid, like, like that Phoebe
Yeah,
set of
yeah,
their
yeah.
friends. Like,
Uh-huh.
think about that. Like, if you watch kids, they don't just go from here to there and like walk like a serious adult. Sometimes they're flailing their arms. I think
Oh,
about
yeah.
Miles on his first t-ball team when he was 6. He was just there for social. So like when he was going from one base to the next, he would do cartwheels.
I mean, I've seen those videos of little
Right.
kids, and they're like
Yeah.
the one kid like walking, running
Yeah.
like he's running but really slow, and they're like,
Yes.
"Come on!" He's like, and he just keeps going really
Yes.
slow.
And like think about that. Even watching it probably does it for you. But
It
like if you
does.
think about the science of it, when they study brainwaves with play, it relieves stress, improves brain
Mm.
function, it boosts creativity. I mean, that's really true. How many times do you get up to do a stretch break and then you can go back to writing? I'm in the middle of writing a chapter right now, and I have found that like dance breaks help me the most, because it's
I
serious
love that.
stuff,
Yeah,
about
yeah.
early diagnosis with Griffin. So it strengthens our relationships, is what science says, keeps us flexible, both mentally and physically.
I mean, it's funny because even just talking, you just us doing that little list of things that we did when we were little, like in the middle of you saying a few things, I took a big deep breath. Like just talking about play,
Yeah.
I feel lighter around all of this. And
Yeah.
again, going back to Dr. Brown, he found that play deprived adults are more likely to suffer from depression and disconnection. That tracks 100% to me.
Yeah, there was these authors, Adam and Ali Blatner, I guess, who did a whole study on play, and they said like their whole purpose of that study was to prove that it helps prevent mental illness.
Mm,
So whether it's like dramatic role play or strategic, like gameplay, they say it helps rewire us with our relational patterns. It can release stuck emotions, which is huge. And
mm,
I've seen that as a parent.
sure. Yep.
And then reconnect with spontaneity, which is, I never think I need that because I do feel like I'm a spontaneous person, but even reading that made me realize, oh yeah, I need help with that. I need help with
Well,
just spontaneous pleasure. I can make spontaneous plans because I'm like, "Ooh, I'm free. Let's go." But spontaneous pleasure is different.
yeah, although I would say, again, you and I are in a place right now where we don't have a lot of time to just be spontaneous and be
Yeah.
like, oh, let's go do this now, you know. Um, that's a new development for me, um, but I think the idea of getting up and dancing in between a call or sitting down and deciding to play a game on my phone. I mean, that's not physical play, but you know, those spontaneous play doesn't have to be a big to do, right?
Right.
To me, this reminds me a lot of the idea because even you saying, where could I fit this into my schedule? If people are looking, going like, where can I fit play into my schedule? This doesn't have to be a big time consuming thing. It's the thing that movement, that fast, put on a song that's 3 minutes long, dance to a half of a song, whatever it might be. Those are spontaneous. So I think there's also a place where if you think to yourself, gosh, I just don't have the time for play, or I'm not very good at this, recognizing where maybe you do it and you don't realize you do it. Like you and
Yeah.
I are very clear that you sing, I dance, whatever. Cooking for you is pleasurable. It's not for me. There's the different things
Yeah.
that we do. I think we have to
It's
also,
sometimes not for me either. Just
it needs to take, like, there could be a place where before you decide that you haven't been playful, if you think about, take a step back and assess where have you been playful and
true.
what of those are easy so that you can do more of them,
Yeah. Totally.
right?
And yes, and I we've talked before about how so many young mothers, and not always young mothers, sometimes mothers who've just kind of gotten into a routine,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, don't ask me what my hobbies are,
Yeah.
because they're so far from that. They're so like disconnected from themselves. So I think it is important, even though you and I think both of us are always dying to play. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
I have this just strange, huge opposing forces where like I want to have the time to get out of here and like advocate and help, change, like fight for justice. And I also would love to, go do something really fun and frivolous at the same, like I want both. I really want both. So I don't think I have any issue around, you know, shame or undeserving, but so many people do. And I'm
Yeah.
sure I did at some point. I mean, when I think about my childhood, it makes sense. Why people don't play more, the resistance that shows up as self consciousness. We saw
Hmm.
that with people with dancing, right?
Yeah.
Competitiveness, fear of looking silly. For a lot of people, it's not rocket science to realize that, the childhood messages of grow up, that, don't be so
Hmm.
immature, act your age, got internalized.
Yep. Yeah. Brandy Heather talks about how our childhood experiences shape our adult resistance to play, just exactly what you're talking about. Were you judged at being too silly or too loud, right? That old chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
Were you only rewarded when you were serious or accomplished? I think I guess because I have artistic kids, there's been a lot of play and fun and lightheartedness, you as well, that like, Charlotte just texted yesterday, and again, this is the middle of July. She's like, "Oh, hey, I just looked at my grades. I'm on the dean's list again." Like that's how much we do not pay attention to that shit. But like, I promote her band like to the nth
Mm-hmm.
degree. So I think I've done a pretty good job. I hope I've done a pretty good job with my kids of rewarding play more in some ways more than
Yeah.
grades.
Yeah.
I'm
I
lucky.
know.
They're smart,
Brene
but.
Brown has said that, like, that was what she learned from her son was like,
Mm.
just to do something for the pleasure of it and not for the reward of it. Um, because that wasn't how she grew up, and it
Yeah.
wasn't how a lot of us grew up. Like, especially, when we look back at being latchkey kids, it wasn't like
Yeah.
let yourself in and have fun. It was like let yourself in, get dinner
Do your
started, do a
homework.
bunch of, yeah, do your homework, all that stuff.
Yep.
And a lot of times we weren't. We were watching MTV, and then we were feeling bad, like we were, feeling like we were doing something bad.
Right.
Um,
Which is half the fun of watching
like
MTV.
I know. And we've had like way back we had a guest, Sama, talking about good girl trauma.
Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
think a lot of people who identified as the good girl or the achiever, or the pleaser, play might have felt unsafe or just wrong, right? Because it wasn't productive. It didn't guarantee praise. And as we know, praise equaled love
Mm.
to the young forming, little souls.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's the aspect of like, what do you want? Right. And you and I both coach, have coached, do coach, will continue to coach so many women that don't even really know what they want. Right. So there's the clue right there. If you can't, it's like you said, young moms or moms being like, "Ah, don't even ask me what my hobbies are," right? Like that's a big clue right there that you have lost that connection to what lights you up. And play can reconnect us with that desire. I mean, I think you wanting to take a class on stand up, like that's play, right? And it's a desire to have fun. Are you going to be the next Ellen DeGeneres? I mean,
No.
probably not. Yeah, but it'll be fun to try, right?
Right.
So that desire gets relit with you as you decide to do this.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like, is it fun or terrifying?
Well, but
But
but that's
I,
but there that goes
yeah,
back to what you just said, right? The reason one of the things that holds us back is thinking like I'm going to look like an ass.
right.
Says who? You
Right.
know,
Who cares?
and also who
Yeah.
the fuck cares? Yeah.
Uh, um, so I want, if you're listening to this, I have those questions for you. Like, what was play like for you as a kid?
Mm,
Did you dance? Did you dress up? Did you build forts? Like, what have you seen kids do or other adults do that like got your attention and made you feel something like in the middle of your chest, right? Like made you feel
mm.
like, ooh, can they do that? That might be something like there's part of you that's actually really envious of it or drawn to it, or other times just lights you up. So I think that's a good place to start. Cause honestly, I remember when I got asked that recently, like, what would you do if you wanted to have more fun? And I like just closed my eyes and I was like, I love singing, love dancing, you know?
But
So what,
it didn't take you much to connect to that because you already do
no,
it. Yeah.
yeah, true. And I did it a
Yeah.
lot as a kid.
Yeah.
My sister and I, we had this long bathroom in that ranch house, and there was a huge mirror, like the wall to wall mirror the way
Yeah.
80s houses did. And
Yeah.
we would stand on the bathtub and like sing into hairbrushes.
Well, you know this because I shared it with you when you came to town to see the Go-Go's. Yeah, my sister and I got out. I mean, Beauty and the Beat was played to the nubbin, and Charlotte, that's my daughter, Amy, my sister and I played tennis rackets, guitars.
That is awesome.
I'm not sure who was who, but yeah, and Barbie houses that we built out of scratch. Yeah, and so I'm curious because for me. While my parents never, like, they loved to watch Amy and I create this stuff, they did not get down on their knees and do it. I was not much of a player in terms of my kids. Like, I was more of the one who, like, would have conversations. I was lighthearted with them. Darren was the one that got down on the floor and created forts. Like, when they think about a fort, I was always doing something else. It was always Darren doing that stuff. So,
Mm.
are you a player? Or were you when they were little? And B, what was your family like?
My family of origin, or this
Yeah,
family, this little family.
both. But first, yeah, like what did you grow up? Were your parents playing with you
I
or
don't
were
remember
they?
my mom doing a ton of playing
Me
with us,
neither.
but she did create a lot of opportunities for us to play. And she did
Okay.
like painting cookies with us. And um,
Okay. Yeah, I do that kind of stuff.
like,
Okay.
I don't remember her getting in the pool with us the way my dad did,
Me too.
but with my kids, like, yeah, Brendan was better at building forts. I didn't mind that my kids built forts, although We did it once.
But
And I
like
was like,
would Brendan crawl in, like Darren would crawl in, they'd
yeah,
make a
we
big
did.
fort
We
and then they'd
definitely would
watch
go in there and
movies.
like read stories with them with
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
But one time we built a fort that felt like a pirate ship, and I got out all this stuff and we dressed up like pirates. And it's funny because what I just said about my mom, we have all these videos of her creating out of construction paper these costumes with Steven that were so playful and
Oh,
elaborate. So it's like, did she do that with us? She may have been too busy, but definitely a very
as a
playful
grandma.
grandmother.
Yeah.
But and maybe she did, I don't remember, but I remember like we were walking on all the furniture and we were pirates, and we had that going for like a week or something. But
That's
what my
amazing.
kids remember about forts, and I remember several times doing forts where we were in them with them, and making it, really playful. But they have this really strong memory when I was, working a full-time job outside of the house, and we had a nanny at the time they didn't totally care for, and she called me before I left work and said they really want you to come in through the something door. I think it was the side door. I don't remember. And I like had paid to have the house clean, which I hadn't done very much, and they'd torn it all up. Like sheets were off beds, and there was this huge. And I came in, and I just like had a little tear in my eye. Like,
Oh,
could you have not done that? Like, like
yeah.
anything else? But they remember that, and they laugh about that all the time. Remember, we built a fort, and we totally trashed the house, and whatever.
Yeah,
That
that's hilarious.
I remember all of it, including when I dressed us up like pirates and like tied things
Hmm.
that looked like bandanas, and found my blouses and made them look like those are great. And we did those things too. So we built a lot of Legos. We built a lot of
Mm,
train tracks. Um, we did a lot of dance parties, like a lot.
nice.
That was kind of how we transitioned into bedtime, and how we
Mm,
did clean up was with a lot of dance and sing things. And my kids, this is actually what led to their what led to their music lessons, is they kept putting on. Peter would make these tickets. He would also like make these sport tournaments for us, which was so funny because we're only 5 people, and he'd make a trophy for it. But he'd make these tickets to these concerts, and then they'd play on all their little makeshift instruments or like children's instruments, and it was so shitty. It was so terrible and like horrible cacophony, right? Like Africa stomp, and he'd like have these animals that like he was super into collecting animals, so he'd like play with these little figurines and make really loud noises with them, and we were like, we need to get them lessons. So banging on our piano and doing like things with my ukulele. So that actually led to them becoming musical because they needed help.
So, okay, so we just went through a whole talking about a whole cacophony for both of us of all the things that we did growing up and our kids. And it doesn't have to be that spectacular, right? You
Right.
might be the quiet explorer. You might get lost in books or art. All of the early forms of play matter, right? So, like you said, we would love in our posts over the week for you to tell us about what you've done. Like it
Yeah.
recognizing what you did in the past will help you reconnect with what might light you up now. Stuart Brown lists 8 types of play personalities: Joker, explorer, artistic slash creator, competitor, storyteller, and then it says here more. So there's
I don't
more.
know why I didn't list the rest.
That's
Sorry.
okay. But I love that. Joker, explorer, artist, creator. So, we've just talked about sort of Joker, artist, creator, even explorer when you're creating forts and things like that, competitor with if you're in sports. But even somebody that's sitting down and, as you said, painting, storytelling, all of that counts. That's all different types of play for sure.
Totally. Hold on. I'm looking for that because that was going to bug me. Yeah, I mean, I don't, I was thinking about this. People who never like who've been on this journey of becoming someone else, they might not want to go back to what they used to think was fun. There
Mm,
might be like a whole new
good
part
point.
to unlock, right?
Yep.
Maybe you didn't learn how to swim as a young person, or you didn't ride a bike much, but like if that's something pulling at you, you might not realize how one of those two things could just be this really freeing. I have a great example, which is going to sound silly, but for someone's 40th birthday, I did pole dancing class with her, and I felt
That's
like a little kid. Like swinging around a pole reminded me of being on a
yeah.
playground because
Yep.
we weren't doing this to perform or anything. It was just, and it was actually incredibly athletic. So I have huge, huge respect for anyone who actually does that. But
Yep.
like spinning around brought back this very childlike feeling for me. And I don't remember ever doing that. I remember like monkey bars, but I don't remember
Right.
doing a lot of, any sort of twirling or anything like that. So I wonder too if, just you don't have to go, this is what I did for fun back then. Like, unless that's a really easy yes, then do that and unlock it.
Right.
But what if something's waiting for you to, just
I
kind
love
of
that.
discover it?
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, so did you find the other, what did we come up with? One, two, three, four, five. Did you find the other
Okay,
three?
so Joker,
Yep.
explorer, competitor, director, collector, artist,
Director,
creator.
collector. Okay.
Yeah. Artist, creator, storyteller, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Kinesthete finds, well, somebody who finds joy in movement, dancing, sports,
Oh,
yoga, play through activity. How do you say that? Kinesthete?
kinesthetic. Kinesthetic.
Kinesthetic, probably, but it says kinesthete, kinesthete. I don't know. Yeah,
Kinesthetic.
that's new for me. But
Yeah.
somebody who's kinesthetic. So those are
So
the
that'd
eight.
be the dancing piece.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
So
cool.
yeah, the joker thrives on laughter. The explorer delights in new places, discoveries. Competitor energized by game rules and scoring.
Mm,
Solo or in teams. Director loves to organize other things and orchestrate.
mhm.
Collector finds play in gathering, organizing, and curating objects or experiences. Not me. Like I wouldn't. It says collecting wines. I'm like, well,
I mean, do
um,
we collect if we drink them?
I collect and recycle. Um, artist, creator, obviously that's obvious, and then the storyteller plays through narrative, telling tales, acting, writing imaginative characters and scenes. That's interesting because I'm really enjoying writing right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that.
All right.
And again, you don't have to fit into just one. And as you just said, something that might have lit you up when you were younger, you feel like been there, done that. But now hearing one of these other ones, it might be something that you're now kind of curious about. And really, how we got to talk about how we reclaim play as adults without structured play groups. Although I do love a girls' weekend,
I
so
do. I do too.
start small. We've already said this. Dance in the kitchen, crack a stupid joke, let yourself
Yeah.
be bad at something on purpose. I mean, that's a huge one, right? You think, oh, it's scary to go learn how to do stand-up comedy. It's scary to go try a new dance class. Scary to blah, blah, blah. So what?
Fall on your butt a
Everybody's
lot
bad.
learning how to
Oh,
snowboard. Yes.
yeah. Yes. Yes.
um, I think too, like speed is really fun. People forget that, like getting on a bike or a
I was
scooter.
gonna be
Just wear a
like, are
helmet.
you
Wear a
advocating
helmet.
drug use?
No, I meant like going
I know.
fast. A roller coaster.
Mm.
Um, one of my favorite things to ask my clients is when's the last time you had a really like so hard belly laugh that your stomach hurt or your face hurt, that unlocks that piece too. Like this just, oh, I haven't had that much fun in a while.
So mine is always with you. So that's a form of play, right? Being
Right.
with friends. This we did you just snort? Okay, here we go.
I did because I was picturing
Us in
being together.
Arizona.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's again, that's a perfect example. We listed all these archetypes, and yet sometimes just being with a friend is the thing that makes you. Or I mean, we when we were back in Ohio a couple of weeks ago, Liam said I was with we were staying at my sister's, and Liam's like, when are we going to get the famous sister bishop sister laugh? Because inevitably, when we're together, there's at some point somebody says something stupid, and we get to laughing so hard that we can't breathe and we're crying. And we weren't home long enough for it, but she's coming into town here shortly, and so we were like, we promise that week there'll be one. So it's thinking about it doesn't have to be structured play. It can just be being with a friend. That can feel like play.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I was just thinking of when like we scheduled a day to play. We actually scheduled it. We made time for it because we knew that even though our work is so fun and it really created a lot of fun times and a lot of play, we
Yep.
also knew we wanted the downtime. And one of the things we did, we joked about doing was we're we're going to spend the whole day talking, and after everything the other one says, the other one's going to say, I love that for you.
Yep. I mean, that's so
So
stupid, but for
it's
us, it made us laugh so hard. I love that for you. Oh,
yeah,
I love that for you.
I was thinking too, we've talked about this before, like a little soundbite that's really, really true for us coaches is when you want to grow your confidence, you got to do the thing you want to be more confident in. There's
Yep.
no other way around it. You can't learn more about it. If you want to get good at speaking, sign up to speak more. If you want to get, good at tennis, play more tennis. So that's like the formula. It's really simple. If you want to work on your self-esteem, which a lot of women don't walk around thinking they need or want, but then they realize that's really what it is. Like, I need to, love myself more, admire myself more. This is it. You
Yeah.
play. You find the
Yeah.
thing that just makes you laugh or makes you forget time or feel young. And then you look sideways at yourself like, she's cool. I'm loving her. This is fun.
I mean, I can't not say this right now because it just hit me like you and I say this all the time, and we've said it often on the
Mm-hmm.
pod. Recording the pod for us is play and it's
Mm-hmm.
fun. Uh, we're not quite done yet, but like we started this, it's such a low place, and I feel so much lighter just having this conversation and the bits of laughter that we've had. Um, Fun isn't frivolous, it is
True.
freedom. It is how we continue to be able to show up, to be in the resistance, to be advocates for ourselves and others. It is how we build resilience.
Mm. Mm. Yes. And also, what we often find is we'll get in here and completely change our mood and have so much fun. And then we'll get off and be like, "Ugh, I just saw the news.
Totally. So
Can we
I'm
get
not trying
back
to
on? Can we get back on Zoom?"
totally. Yep. But that's the thing, right? This isn't going away. What happened today was absolutely horrific, and it's the beginning. It's not the end.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that looks like, but that is why the invitation from us this week is take one small playful action.
Yes.
Reclaim your right to joy. There is a lot to be upset about. There is a lot to be sad about. There is a lot to feel dark about. But if you remind yourself that you're not too old, you're not too serious, you're not too busy, it's not too late, you can still show up with joy. We were texting this morning in our Queens thread, and I was working out, so I wasn't listening, but I was watching Hakeem Jeffries on the floor filibustering for 6 hours or whatever he did. And I was struck by how much laughter there was. Like, now, granted, they're just showing him and they're showing, a handful of Dems behind him. But whatever he was saying, he might have been getting loopy. I don't know. But they were cracking up. They were standing up and laughing. They were clapping. And I thought, this is such a dark moment. They're trying so damn hard to keep this country from going down the shithole. And yet there's still joy. I
Yeah.
miss the joy that we all had up until the election when Kamala
Mm.
was running. She brought
Mm.
that joy. And I am so glad that I sit here as a progressive Democrat knowing that joy is still possible. And
Yeah.
if you're feeling dark right now, that is 100% fair. But joy is still possible.
Yeah. I have, I'll get into complicated things about that later, but I do agree that when there's laughter amongst all this, there's always hope. And history always tells me that like the joy and the honest, you know, like the truth and the positivity and the joy that comes from people coming together to do the right thing always wins
Yes.
out. It's
Yep.
going to be the arc of
History.
justice.
Oh,
Yeah, the arc of justice. Or no, wait. arc of history bends toward justice,
There you
right?
go.
Yes.
Yes, the
Thank
arc of
you.
history. Martin Luther King
Right. Like
Jr.
we have to bend it.
Exactly. And if we are
it takes
rigid,
people. Yeah.
right. And without joy, it's not
Yeah.
bendy.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't bend if we are burnt out.
Right.
If
And
joy
like that's the
is
thing I'm learning
imperative.
from these protests
Yeah.
is, on both sides of this political divide, there's a lot of division. But when there is joy, it's not frivolous, it's freedom. It
Yep.
actually is what freedom feels like. And so it's
Yeah.
so essential for our resilience to keep going.
Absolutely. No question.
So song wise, I went back and forth. I think like Can't Hold Me Down. I don't know who sings that though, is coming to mind now. But then I came up with Freedom by John Batiste. I got the feeling I'm going to be all right. So maybe that is perfect timing for what I just
It
said.
might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know when we
But
first
like
talked about it, we're like,
I also have like, an angry song in my head that I can't remember. But anyway, like there's a lot of emotions right now, and joy feels like the right antidote. Play feels like the right antidote.
yeah, it really does. Yeah, and I want to circle back again because I think I'm saying this for myself more than anything. I have to remember that resting and feeling, and whether it's sitting at the pool or it's posting about America's favorite couple or whatever it might be, that is just as important in this time as everything else you and I are doing. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah.
think I think people with little kids and pets really get that. Or in my case, with
Hmm.
someone with a mild intellectual disability, like there's still a lot of like fun and play in the structure of what like helps Griffin get through his day, and it really helps.
Yeah.
So it's or people who are caring for an elderly person who doesn't really remember or have the capacity at the moment for taking all that in. Like there is something really beautiful about like the different ways in our life, like we have to abandon you know the seriousness of what's happening. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I think if you don't have that, you get to choose it.
Yeah. And choice is all we've got right now. Well, thanks everyone for listening. I hope that you ended with some joy at the end of this, like Carrie and I did, because yeah, we came in dark, but I do feel lighter, which is good. We always say to follow the podcast on Spotify or Apple. Follow us on our Instagram and Facebook. We're on TikTok. But I also want to give a shout out to YouTube because we don't talk about that. We kind of have always just thrown these videos up on YouTube, but we're getting some nice traction there. And so, even if you tend to listen to us on one of the podcasts, if you ever want to go watch, go pop onto YouTube and you can see Carrie and I IRL, I guess, sort of, except on video. So yeah, go follow us on YouTube. It's just under the Things We Know podcast. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week.
Bye.